Here we go. Thank you, Jerry Jones. I had a great time. Thank you. I'm going to exit the building now. Like I'm user. Here we go. House at Jerry Jonesville. It's a house for losers. Yep. Charles Haley was 100% right. This, friends, is a house for losers. Pretty much. We suck. We suck. But I had a great trip. Other than that, other than the game, I had an incredible time.
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, and Joe Bear. What's up, Joe Bear? And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods. I'm sorry, guys. I am 100% sorry for what Jerry Jones has done to you guys. It is not good times here at the Dallas Cowboys, but at this point, you know what? I'm going to say here, I feel great this morning. You know that? I feel great this morning. You know why I feel great this morning? I woke up this morning. That's always the first thing on my list is waking up. I woke up this morning next to my wife. My wife we've been together for 21 years. I have known her since 1984 in the summer. And I realized what's important in life. Waking up next to your partner who is with you, ride or die. And I said to my wife this morning, I said, do you love me? She said, I love everything about you. I said, hold up. Wait. I said, you don't love everything about me. She said, yes, I do. I said, how about if I leave some pee on the toilet seat? She said, well, you don't. I said, I know I don't do that because I know you don't like that. She said, well, you don't do it, so it's not an issue. And I was going down the list of all these things and all that. I said, how about if I leave poop stains in the toilet? She said, oh, hell, yeah, I don't love that about you. I don't love when you leave poop stains in the toilet. You know, so it's like, okay. So I'm feeling pretty good because she didn't this was her opportunity to go down the whole list of all these things that she don't like about me. But that's where I said, you know, as long as I have that, I'm whole. Even if the Dallas Cowboys are the worst team in football right now. Even if the Dallas Cowboys are the worst team in football. Actually, they are the worst team in football, but they're the number one marketing organization. If you just take a look here. I want you to take a look here. If you are nationwide, you see that? Look at that. Nationwide is on your side. You know everybody's watching Micah Parsons because there's a drama of, is there a beef between Micah Parsons and the coach? Everything is taken out of context and tried to be made out of something that it may not be. That's what's crazy. And if you're looking for drama, sponsorship-wise, you know, here's where you know it's kind of crazy that you literally have Jerry Jones defending the windows being open, right? A controversy that's talked about. Your player literally said 1,000%, I can't see the football. I can see the football because of the sun. But somebody pointed out that in that concourse, you have the light beer from Miller logo right there in the middle of it, and then you have these two big cans. So you see the light and you see the light beer. Marketing freaking genius. And you create controversy because it costs you a score. Everybody talks about the light. They show everywhere. Everywhere. The light coming in the windows with the light beer logo. I don't know if they get an extra check because of the controversy or something, but you know they're going to get paid for that. And as I was sitting there in the stadium and everything else, you know, which wasn't as full as it usually is. They had the towels, the rally towels, woohoo, you know, so we can be like the Steelers. You can see a lot of seats with a lot of towels that weren't taken throughout the stadium, and it's going to get worse. It's crazy because 5 weeks ago we looked at getting tickets. The nosebleed seats up there were almost $400 for the Eagles game. I saw some cheaper the day of the game than the standing room only seats. I saw lower level ones under $200. That ain't good. And this may be the thing that we need, because we need Jerry and Stephen Jones to feel the ventum of the Cowboys and the Cowboys fan base. You need it to be so ugly that people stop watching. And as I go through now, here's where it's kind of crazy. You start now having Stephen A. Smith, you know, saying it's not even fun. They're not even worth the time. You're now seeing where the Dallas Cowboys are being put on the back door. They're still talking about the explosive stuff, you know, Mike McCarthy and Micah Parsons and all that. But how crazy is it that we get a guy who should be in line for one of the biggest contracts in football, who's been missing for 5 weeks? He comes out there, he gets 2 sacks, and nobody's even saying, hey, he got 2 sacks. And their defense improved until finally they just got worn out because the offense couldn't do anything. That he did that with a noticeable limp. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about Mike McCarthy and Micah Parsons. And I dare say, for Micah, be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. You know, when the Cowboys were winning last year and things like that, and you're only having to do the walk of shame 5 times, you're looking at doing the walk of shame the next 8 weeks. This isn't going to get better for Micah Parsons. And you see the tone has changed in here, where instead of being aggressive and, you know, outgoing and all the guests and stuff, where he's doing a whole variety show, now it's kind of like, we got to put out these fires. And what I think he's going to find out is this isn't going to be as fun as it used to be, sadly. And I see he's beginning to mature through trial by fire. So this was last night. I actually put a video out on it, but I want to rehash exactly what he's saying. Because, you know, when I first read, because here's what they do. Here's what they do with the media is, like statistics, you can turn things, especially in writing, differently than it may be how it was meant. Okay? And I'll give you a great example. Not knowing that I had Zeke Elliott's father sitting next to me at the on Law's live stream and getting into conversation. And I was saying, here's the problems with the Dallas Cowboys is we wait. We wait till the end of training camp to sign guys that have been out of the league, over the hill, older players, and expect to throw them in there and think that they're going to be a cohesive unit without having to practice, without having any practice, without having OTAs and training camp in there, that you don't exactly have premier players, and you're expecting to plug them in, and they're going to be good without even practicing your system and working with everybody else. Because it only takes one guy to mess up a play. One guy doesn't do his assignment and messes it up. He took that as, you're saying my son is old, because there's the whole thing of, if somebody can prove that Zeke Elliott's lost a step, you know, he'll pay him $10,000. What I meant was, I'm talking about our defensive line, stopping the run, that we go out and say, hey, let's trade for Jordan Phillips. When the Cowboys could have signed a Calais Campbell early in the offseason, had him there working with Mike Zimmer, mentoring the other players, learning what they want to do and being in your system, getting in shape and knowing where you are. Because Calais Campbell, granted he's 38 years old, who got a couple of sacks last night, who is right now better than any defensive lineman we have at the moment, at 38 years old, it's $2 million. It's $2 million. And that's the problem, is it's a marketing business, and the longer you can keep the drama going, the more you can go ahead and you can show all that stuff. You know, the broadcast from the Miller Lite Club and things. You know, all of the shows with all the drama. You know, Jerry Jones literally just saying something like, you know, I'm not used to being questioned by people I write checks to. I'll get somebody else. Sets off a firestorm where people are talking about that. 105.3 The Fan probably got a major boost because of that. And that's where you realize it's not about winning. You even have Mike McCarthy, and this is where I'm kind of like, what the F? Mike McCarthy comes out in his press conference. They have a screen up here, a reflector, so that way they get better lighting and things, because, of course, you got to have the right look. And he comes out and says, oh, well, is that for the sun? Yeah, he's like, I can't resist. He even knows we just got the hell beat out of us, and all I could do is laugh. So why should I, who woke up next to my life partner, that I hope when I breathe my last breath, I'm looking at her? Why should I get upset when Mike McCarthy can literally joke about the sun being in the eyes of a player? Here was Micah Parsons' explanation.
He should know the significance of one, throwing out someone's injury. Like, I wanted to get injury. Now, that's blatant disrespect. I've never missed a game in my career. Not college, not high school, not even to about 4 or 5 weeks ago to injury. To say that I'm just missing games because of injury, like it's just some injury after I suffered a significant injury playing the game that we love. Someone who's been around teams and legends at that can say, like, that's how I know we all have to see through the BS of what these TV analysts are trying to do and, you know, provide us and basically take words I never once threw or even intended to throw Mike McCarthy under the bus. Like I said, he's one of the most winningest coach. He is a Super Bowl champ. I never once brung up his past. And the question that was asked was about here in the Dallas Cowboys, did I see Mike McCarthy in our future? And I said, that's above my pay grade. So never once did I ever intended or wanted to reflect on Mike McCarthy's career because I always knew it was a good one. I've always had a great relationship with Mike McCarthy, and I never even put that in question. And for a guy like Rex Ryan, I just know he wanted to coach the Cowboys. Like, I'm perfectly happy that we have Zimmerman, because if we have a guy that's willing to go on TV and provide this type of nonsense, imagine what he could do to a locker room. Like, that's just honestly just outrageous to me at the end of the day. Like I said, man, when you play football, all coaching aside, and you can look at college, you can look at even the pros, coaches are, you know, their careers are way longer. You know, they can decide to take a better job. They can move on. You kind of see that a lot from DCs, OCs, head coaching positions. Sometimes better job openings just open up. And you truly never know. You never know how the dice is going to roll with coaches. But when you talk about guys you consistently going to war with, man, like guys that I seen Tyron and Zach barely can walk throughout the week, take a Toradol, go out there and play, you know, being half a man basically and giving us our best effort. So when you see those type of things, you see guys pushing through injuries, pushing through just so much difficulty it is to play in this league. Yes, 100%. Every time I'm going to always choose the brother that we're going to bleed with, we're going to work with, because in the end, you know, it's only a small group of us, you know. There is no politics out there on that football field. I understand what he meant to the Dallas Cowboys organization, because I'm only worried about what happens at the Dallas organization, man. And, you know, it truly bothers me how much negativity that we choose to put out there. Because not once did I want this quote to be a negative moment. I only want it to be a positive light and shine light on guys like Zach Martin, who may or may not be a Cowboy next year, but is going to be a Ring of Honor guy, a Hall of Fame guy, and that just know that he just added so much value to the Cowboys that will be missed.
So that was Micah Parsons' response to we're talking about. We're not talking about how bad the team is. We're not talking about where we go from here. We're talking about whether there's a beef between Micah Parsons and Mike McCarthy. And this is where it's just kind of crazy. You know, how are we going to go? What we really should be looking at right now is, and it's crazy because as I listen to it, and I'm getting kind of worried. I'm just literally just a stream of consciousness right now. But listening to Stephen Jones, you know, him and his whole, you know, well, basically like, this is a surprise that we've done great things and, you know, an asteroid came and destroyed the facilities and that's what happened. You know, it was unforeseen. What happened was the Dallas Cowboys got high on their own supply and they believed that they are so smart. Well, look, you know what? We're 12-5 3 years in a row. It wasn't 12-5 because you did great things. You lucked out. You lucked out getting a Micah Parsons that fell to you. You lucked out that Dak Prescott helped to elevate this team. You lucked out that you got Dan Quinn on the rebound, who literally did things with smoke and mirrors. You lucked out into this. It wasn't that you found all these fantastic. Oh, with Brandon Albury. Okay, that one I'll say you definitely lucked out on, or maybe you were just wise and I don't know what it is, but what I know right now is we have not been drafting well lately. We have not been drafting well lately. And with Stephen Jones' whole thing of you don't sign big name free agents because it means you screwed up in the draft. Yeah, you did screw up in the draft. Everybody screws up in the draft. But you can't just ignore that you have a problem. You can't just ignore that you have a problem. You know, and this is where Law Nation, that's my boy. Law Nation, he sat over here and watched the game. But just before the pandemic happened, he was in town for it. Law was 100% right, and I hadn't thought of it the way he said it. But he said the Cowboys basically don't draft to complement players. They draft to fill in holes. And see, this is where you have to look at this. The Cowboys find incredible players. You can't say that Diggs isn't an incredible player. You got that interception in the end zone there, you know, and what he's been able to do. You can't say that Micah Parsons is an incredible player. You can't say that CeeDee Lamb isn't an incredible player. And I'm going to say you can't say that Dak Prescott isn't an incredible player. The things that other teams do is they recognize we got a stud. We got a couple of years that they're going to be great. Let's maximize the talent by putting talent around them. We end up looking and saying, oh, well, we got this guy that's really good and we got position flex. So, you know, we'll have Micah play linebacker and defensive end. Why don't you go out and just get a linebacker? So he can focus on one thing, being the best guy getting to the quarterback. You want to get Micah Parsons, you know, defensive MVP so you can get more publicity? Then you get a defensive line in front of him. You get a complimentary player to go on the other side to help take some of the focus off. And the same thing with the quarterback. If you're going to go ahead and invest $231 million on a quarterback, you don't look at it and just say, hey, we got the quarterback. You need to protect your investment. That's getting the offensive line together. That's getting him a running game. That's getting him weapons to use his talents. You don't look and say, oh, well, we got a great quarterback, so that's all we need. One guy does not win the Super Bowl. That's the short-sightedness. When Stephen Jones, you know, you listen to the shit that they say. Jerry, we're going to do more with less. No, you're not going to do more with less. You're going to do less with less. You're going to do less with less. Did Kansas City say, we have Pat Mahomes? We don't need anybody else. We got Pat Mahomes. And the running back goes down. They bring in Kareem Hunt. They say, well, we got Pat Mahomes and Kareem Hunt. We don't need anybody else. They lose Rice. Hey, let's trade for Hopkins. And you see these players filling the roles and helping these teams be successful. We don't do that. We said we're going to do more with less. How is that possible? And you literally have Stephen Jones. We're going to get more touches for CeeDee Lamb. I don't want to see CeeDee Lamb being the focal point of our running game. He's not that big of a body to take that abuse. But you see, 4th down and 1, we're going to give it to CeeDee Lamb. What are we doing here? That's position flex. Well, we don't really have a great running game and stuff like that. So we're paying CeeDee Lamb. So CeeDee Lamb is going to he's going to have to take some runs at running the football here because, we paid him a lot of money. And we're going to make sure we get our money's worth out of him. It don't matter if he's got to play running back, wide receiver. Heck, you know what? If we get short on the offensive line, we'll put him out there as a tight end or a tackle because, we believe in position flex and we believe that we paid him a lot of money and we're going to make sure that he gets every opportunity to earn every cent of that contract. You got a quarterback who literally decapitated his foot, his ankle. And you've got an offensive line that is shit right now, that he's running for his life. That's not how you protect your investment. So I've gotten long-winded this morning. I was in the air, of course, yesterday, so I didn't hear too much of the talking heads and things. The rumor, of course, now, or at least the thing, here's what I'm learning more and more. Here's where, when you have a television show that's been a good run, it's just been really good, just organically, out the box. It's really good. 24 is my favorite example. 24, the first 2 years were like, okay, this is crazy and unbelievable, but you kind of say, okay, this could happen. But then after 3rd and 4th seasons, they had to keep taking it up a level to get your attention. See, people are tuning off the get-ups and the speaks and things like that. I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched anything speak-wise this year. I didn't even know that Shady McCoy isn't on it anymore. I didn't. The last thing I heard was James Jones, basically saying that Dak Prescott's faking an injury. So that's taking it up to another level that you say something so outrageous that it collects some noise. And so that's what they have to do to stay relevant. But let's listen to what they had to say. So, the whole thing now is the Cowboys are going to go hire Deion Sanders, and he's going to bring his son with him. I don't know how that one works when you have, and that could have been the plan all along. But if it is, it's another mistake that the Cowboys made because you paid Dak. Okay.
Had this to say about his head coach.
Mike can leave and go wherever he wants, but the guys I kind of feel bad for is guys like Zach Martin and guys who might be on their last year or on their way out, because that's who I wanted to hold the trophy for. You want to win games and do great things with those type of legends who put in more time and work than Mike McCarthy ever did. So those are the kind of guys that I have so much sympathy and hurt for.
Oof. That's a tough one, Dewood. That's a tough one to take. What is your I'm moving away. What is your reaction to that?
I'm the same. Greeny, I've never heard anyone say anything remotely like that after a game. I really have. And who the hell Micah Parsons think he is talking like that after a game? Bro, you've been missing all these games with the injury. And last time I checked, the head coach is a Super Bowl winning coach. And I know the season hasn't gone the way that everyone is expected to go and all that, But for you to sit there in the locker room right after your team gets pummeled and to just undress your head coach in that manner, see, that's what's going on with all these podcast boys out here in the locker room. Everybody wants to sit there and they want to spout and say all this type of stuff. There used to be a time when there was a little bit of respect, a little decorum in the locker room, because at the end of the day, it was about we didn't do enough. All of y'all got your asses kicked. Okay, you're going to go out here and talk about your head coach, basically your head coach not working, not doing anything to try to prepare the team. I just think it's a bunch of BS, man. Yeah. I really do. I like, we can sit here and laugh and all that type of stuff and be here in shock, but that's disrespectful what Micah Parsons did to Mike McCarthy in that situation, because I know, again, it's not the results that Mike McCarthy wants, but I know that man is busting his ass every single day to try to go out there and get a win, and to hear one of your star players come out there and say that. Yeah. Come on, man. Like, I can't ride with that.
That's total BS. You're exactly right. And look, coaches are there at some days 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
For 2 or 3 days at least during the week. The hours they put in it's unmatched. Mike McCarthy, he doesn't deserve this damn comment. He doesn't. No coach does. Look, there's some horrible coaches out there, but none of them deserve this. The kind of work that they put in as coaches, I'm just telling you, I don't know, most players know that these dudes, you can forget about it. You're giving up family time. You're giving up all kinds of stuff in your life, and you're going to get some ass sitting back. I don't care how talented he is. That is absolutely BS. And if you would work half as freaking hard as a damn coach does, maybe you'd be able to play every damn game. Maybe your team wouldn't just be a bunch of punks and lay it down every damn week like you're doing. How about being a damn football team? You're going to sell your damn coach out? It's a crockish, you know what?
Yes. I think I understood the beginning. Well, first of all, I completely co-sign both of what you said. At the beginning, I think if what he's saying is, well, Mike McCarthy can continue to coach in his life if he wants to, but for the players like Zach Martin, this is going to be the end of their careers. If that's the point he was trying to make, that Mike McCarthy's career doesn't end with this season and Zach Martin's does, maybe I'm even giving him too much credit, that might have been what he was trying to say. But then he loses you forever, and I mean that literally forever, when he says, who's done more here than Mike McCarthy has ever done. That's just obviously beyond the pale. It's well beyond decorum. Everything you just said, I triple co-sign.
They have no choice but to tear it down. Cowboys. Not only we've talked about roster problem, they have a culture problem now.
No.
Yeah. Oh,
there you go.
Yes, they do.
There's a culture problem. And they were given the opportunity to restart at the end of last season after the loss, and they chose not to. Jerry Jones doesn't have a choice now. It's a tear down, and you got to rebuild everything. Talent, culture, because right now this is what's starting. The finger pointing.
Yeah.
And the finger pointing. And it makes me think, man, how much is Dak patched together so much of the issues because of the way that his leadership, this is
now we're saying that Dak was the glue that kept it together?
This is becoming everybody looking out for me. I played on 0-16. We didn't get to that. Where we were bashing coaches and each other in the media. I played on 2-14. We didn't get to that. Okay, so Micah had the opportunity to step forward as a leader of an organization that everybody clearly knows talent-wise isn't where it needs to be. And he chose to just throw junk all over it. Jerry Jones got a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
his best player did that.
Yeah, I mean, and Mike McCarthy clearly knows he's dead man walking. I mean, there's no question about it. You know, and he's going to be out that door. You don't need to kick his butt out the door. And, you know, look, and here's the crazy thing. Look, they got to restart, but they got to do something that, in my opinion, like, how are you going to fix it?
You need a shot.
Well, I look at a couple of teams recently. All right, I look at the Lions. Who'd they hire? One of their former players,
right? Mm-hmm.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Okay. How about the Houston Texans?
Former
right
player.
Down the road. Mm-hmm. Former player, one of their former players.
D'Amico Ryans.
Ryans. All right. I can see Aaron Glenn going to New Orleans next year. All right, or the Jets. You know, a former player. All right. Deion Sanders may be in play here, and I'm going to tell you, they need something. They need to have somebody that has the pride in that damn organization. Being a Dallas Cowboy, the pride you take in it. And by the way, Deion, everywhere he's been, has been kicking you know what. Mm-hmm. All right, Jackson State, they were unbelievable when he was there. He takes Colorado. Right now, they're 7-2. Nobody saw that coming. They're playing in the big, whatever, the damn
Big 12,
now.
yeah.
Big 12. Like, I'm just saying, that because I already know Mike McCarthy's a good football coach, and he's going to be out the door. There's no doubt about it. The whole thing's going to be blown up. But watch what happens. They need that. How are you going to get this kid back on board? He's going to have to damn respect that guy that comes in that building. You're not going to respect Deion Sanders. He's twice the player you are. All right? And you know what? I coached Deion Sanders. Great teammate.
I like the idea, but I think we are a long way away from that. I hear what you're saying, but they still have, how many games have they played? They're 3-6, 3-7. He's got 7 games left to get through this. How do they walk back into the building? D. Wood, you were a great team guy. You were a team leader. How do they walk back into the building today with Dak Prescott sort of off on the side, with getting surgery on Wednesday because his hamstring has been torn off the bone? How do they walk back into that building today and start preparing for whatever it is that the rest of their season is going to be after the loudest voice on their team, for better or in this case, most definitely for worse, has just said that?
Let me first say this. The most talented guy doesn't mean that you're a leader. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. I've seen so many talented guys that weren't actual leaders on their team. I think it can't come from the coaches. It has to come from the players in the locker room. It has to come from the players in the locker room. The players in the locker room has to demand some accountability. What's going on inside the locker room? Because I can tell you right now, that BS that Micah Parsons just pulled. If you're any player in that locker room that gives a damn about culture, anything in this league, you don't let that stuff ride. Like, we're going to have a conversation. I don't give a damn who you are now. I don't give a damn you're Michael Parsons or not. We're going to have a conversation because you can't just have that going on in the locker room. It will literally tear the locker room apart.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll leave it right there. So we are in hell right now, good people. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are literally in hell. And I've got to drive down the road, so I when I'm driving, I get my thoughts together, okay? And it's relaxing for me to be able to drive, even though I got to go deal with some shit. I got to go snake a drain, but I've also got to dig, and we need to put a clean out on the outside, so I got to dig down and find the shit line and deal with that shit. So that's where we are. We are literally a laughingstock in the NFL. Maybe there's good news that we are so bad that maybe, we're half a game behind like New Orleans because they haven't had their bye week yet, but they own the tiebreaker against us. We could end up moving up into the top 10. We're sitting at 11 right now. You see Miami got a win last night against the Rams. That only leaves them a half a game. They might have chances to win games. They got to play the Jets and things like that. So there's opportunity for the Cowboys to move up in the draft and maybe have a top 7-5 pick. So not where we want to be talking about here, and it's not even Thanksgiving, but it is what it is.
Here we go. Thank you, Jerry Jones. I had a great time. Thank you. I'm going to exit the building now. Like a loser. The house that Jerry Jones built? It's a house for losers. Yep. Charles Haley was 100% right. This, friends, is a house for losers.
pretty much.
We suck. We suck. But I had a great trip. Other than that, other than the game,